What's up, squad? Back with another video. I'm Recklezz and got my pops, Jay. You feel me? Is in law enforcement, been in law enforcement for what, 24 years? 24 years. So make sure y'all, I'm saying, hit that like button, that subscribe button. Let me know y'all thoughts. I think this is the third or fourth Paul Harvey video reacting to, but I guess this is a tribute to police officers. And I had a few people saying to check this video out with your dad. So.
Policeman. A policeman is a composite of what all men are, I guess, a mingling of saint and sinner, dust and deity. Called statistics, wave the fan over stinkers, underscore instances of dishonesty and brutality because they are news. What that really means is that they are exceptional, they are unusual, they are not commonplace. Buried under the froth is the fact. And the fact is that less than 0.5% of policemen misfit that uniform. And that is a better average than you'd find among clergymen. What is a policeman? He of all men is at once the most needed and the most wanted. A strangely nameless creature who is sir to his face and pig or worse behind his back. He must be such a diplomat that he can settle differences between individuals so that each will think he won, but if a policeman is neat, he's conceited. If he's careless, he's a bum. If he's pleasant, he's a flirt. If he's not, he's a grouch.
Dang, I feel like that's real what he just said right there.
Yeah.
I feel like that's real. If he's careless, he's a bum. If he's pleasant, he's a flirt. If he's not, he's a grouch. I feel like that's dang near deep, because I feel like a lot of police officers nowadays have to go through that.
Yeah, it is. And just, I mean, everything that he's saying when he's talking about just being a policeman and wearing so many hats, you have to settle disputes where they feel like both sides won. And I tell a lot of people, when they ask me what I do, I tell them I'm a counselor, I'm a father, I'm a clergyman. Like I mean, the list goes on, because there are so many things that a police officer has to be.
But I feel like a lot of people think that police officers are one. Like all police officers act the same. And I be having to tell people that all while I've been growing up. All police officers aren't the same. You know what your dad or your mom is, and you got a police officer as a dad or mom. Like, you see how they are at home, you see how they are on the service. When you go see them at work, you kind of see how they are. Like, you can have a police officer that is just completely racist. You can have a police officer that just don't care about their job. You can have a police officer that, like, it's so many different police officers that you don't know, but you all label as one. All police officers are mean. This is gonna happen to me because he's a police officer. That's not, trust and believe, that's not how it goes. A lot of people think that police officers don't listen to rap music. A lot of people think police officers don't listen to, like,
favorite music.
It's so many people like that think it's just police officers are just, they all act the same, especially the young people.
So I'm gonna share an analogy, and you know how much I mentor, son. You know how much I go out here and mentor youth and go to different facilities and stuff and mentor. So an analogy that I always use when I'll ask the young people, usually I do a lot of young men, some young women, but I do a lot of young men. I'll ask them, how do you feel about police? And a lot of them be like, I don't like the police. And a lot of them, I'm gonna be truthfully honest with you, I've never even had interactions with the police. Or if they've had interactions with the police, it's been through a family member or it's been through some traumatic situation. And I try to be a police officer that if I see some kids playing ball in the street, I'll stop. And I'll play with them, I'll talk to them, I just try to be personable so that they see the human side of me. Because again, when people see a police officer, we all get labeled. So the analogy that I use is when I ask the young men and women that I mentor about liking police, and they say they don't like police, I'll ask them, what's your favorite restaurant? And let's just say they say Chick-fil-A. Kind of a bad, because all Chick-fil-A's are good, but for the sake of argument, they say Chick-fil-A. I say, okay, Chick-fil-A is the restaurant that you like to go to.
But some of the stuff there you're not gonna like.
Right. And when you go to Chick-fil-A, if you have a bad experience, the person was rude, the food didn't taste good, they didn't make your chicken sandwich right,
or they're not fast.
They gave you diet lemonade instead of regular lemonade. They're not fast. They're really slow. And you go to that Chick-fil-A, I said, and what if you go to that Chick-fil-A and all that happens? Then what happens? And their question is, I'm not going back to that Chick-fil-A. And I say, are you not going back to that Chick-fil-A, or are you not going back to Chick-fil-A, period? No, I like Chick-fil-A. I'm going back to another Chick-fil-A. I said, and that's the same way with interactions with police officers. You may have a bad experience with one. I've had bad experience with police officers, and I'm a police officer.
Just about
more than one. But I also have very good friends that are police officers, and I've had some really good interactions with police officers that didn't know that I was an officer, that just was pleasant. He wasn't, being an a-hole, and I was able to, have a positive interaction with them. And like I said, I have had some negative interactions with police officers. And I dealt with that, but that interaction didn't make me feel like all officers are bad. I mean, that's just like if you go to, I've been to some dentists that I was like, man, I'm never going back to them. But I didn't neglect my hygiene, my dental hygiene. So, I mean, it's just, it's one of those things where, police officers is one of the only professions where one bad apple can truly spoil a bunch. And I know a lot of people have lawyer jokes and talk about attorneys and things like that, but people never will get the negative or have the negative feelings towards lawyers or any other profession that they have towards police officers.
Careless, he's a bum. If he's pleasant, he's a flirt. If he's not, he's a grouch. He must make instant decisions which would require months for a lawyer, but if he hurries, he's careless. If he's deliberate, he's lazy. He must be first to an accident, infallible with a diagnosis. He must be able to start breathing, stop bleeding, tie splints, and above all, be sure the victim goes home without a limp or expect to be sued. The police officer must know every gun, draw on the run, and hit where it doesn't hurt. He must be able to whip two men twice his size and half his age without damaging his uniform and without being brutal. If you hit him, he's a coward. If he hits you, he's a bully. A policeman must know everything and not tell. He must know where all of the sin is and not partake. The policeman, from a single human hair, must be able to describe the crime, the weapon, the criminal, and tell you where the criminal is hiding. But if he catches the criminal, he's lucky. If he doesn't, he's a dunce. If he gets promoted, he has political pull. If he doesn't, he's a dullard. The policeman must chase bum leads to a dead end, stake out 10 nights to tag one witness who saw it happen but refuses to remember. He runs files and writes reports until his eyes ache to build a case against some felon who will get dealed out by a shameless Seamus or an honorable who isn't honorable. The policeman must be a minister, a social worker, a diplomat, a tough guy, and a gentleman. And of course he'll have to be a genius because he'll have to feed a family on a policeman's salary.
Oh, I think is it done?
Yeah, I think it's done.
That's crazy though.
Yeah, I mean, man, everything he was saying hit home for me. There are a lot of people who truly care about their city, their community that they're working in, officers, and they don't get the recognition because, of course, like everything, when bad happens, it gets highlighted, and I'm one of the first to speak. I being a police officer, I've been in for over 24 years. I've been in just about every imaginable situation. Not every situation, but I've been in some hairy situations, and by the grace of God, came out on this side of it, and I've never, I've had to pull my weapon several times. I've never had to fire my weapon but one time in my career, and I'm one of the lucky ones because I didn't get hurt or injured.
I think I only had like one friend. Well, no. Dang. Well, it was two people. Remember Aaron Allen and Jonathan Broadway dad.
Yeah.
I went to school with somebody, and his dad passed away.
And I was
somebody's house.
And I was gonna bring up Aaron Allen. So Broadway got killed on a domestic. He went and the lady was screaming help, and he busted in to help the lady, and he ended up being killed in the line of duty. And then Aaron Allen, something that he said hit home, made me think about Aaron, was when he said the first to an accident. Aaron Allen, who here in Indiana, Southport Police Department, responded to an accident of an overturned vehicle, and when he got there, got in the vehicle to help the person out, and the person was the suspected gunman, I should say. Well, I think he's already pled guilty. I think he pled, but either way, he ended up shooting Aaron multiple times and killing him because, for whatever reason, he said he thought Aaron was one of the guys that was trying to rob him. He was trying to get away from a drug deal or something gone wrong, and flipped his car and knocked him out. And when he woke up, Aaron was in the car actually trying to help him get out and make sure that he was okay and safe, and ended up losing his life. So
stuff like that can happen fast.
Yeah,
it definitely can happen fast with a lot of that. That's crazy. I didn't even know all of that. I didn't know it went down like that. But definitely was a D video. I feel like that was something with it being 3 minutes. I feel like that was a D video of seeing it. I feel like if a lot more people actually see this video in particular, they should know. Or even what I was thinking when you said that you would stop and play ball with kids, that a lot of kids don't. If a kid could take one day with a police officer, with the right police officer, or positive, like a clean police officer, I feel like they'll look at police officer a little bit different.
And when I do mentoring, that's one thing that I try to do. I try to show them, because a lot of people, and to go back to what I said earlier, is police officers are brushed kind of with a broad stroke, which means everybody kind of looks at us as all being the same, like we're robots, like RoboCop or something like that. And it's absolutely so. What I try to do is I try to show my human side. I try to show the compassion, the sympathy, the empathy, so that they see that we are much more than a badge, a gun, and a uniform. So, and there'll be some people that look at this and be like, I still don't like the police, and that's fine. But I hope that there are even more that look at it and say, you know what, I'm going to try. And not all police officers are approachable or personable. I'm not going to say that they are. There are some that I wouldn't feel comfortable approaching and having a conversation with just by their demeanor and but I always, no matter if I'm in uniform or not, if you know who I am or not, I always try to be approachable. I always try to be personable. I treat everybody with respect. I've had the displeasure of arresting murderers, and one guy in particular that I arrested. Well, I didn't arrest him, but I transported him for homicide detectives. He had killed two young ladies and their two young children. One was like a newborn, and the other was a toddler. And him and three of his buddies went in and killed them, gunned them down. And I was on the scene when we took one of them in custody, and I transported him. And I treated that young man with a level of respect that he probably shouldn't have been treated with, but that's just me. Because I try to treat everybody respectfully. I try to treat everybody fairly.
And I feel like that's something you gotta take up when you going to prison for that. Something you gotta take up with God. Something you gotta take up. I mean, that's just more like the higher thing rather than, you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna accidentally hit him, or I'm gonna accidentally, do something. You dang near gotta
because not only am I putting my job on the line, am I putting, taking care of you guys on the line back, when this happened, but just my own self. Like I couldn't live with myself knowing that I put my hands on him, or like you said, the prison system, and he got to answer to that. He got to answer to God about the choices that he made. I'm not his God, so was I just nice with him and, hey, you want to stop and grab a burger? No, I wasn't, but I also wasn't disrespectful either. I wasn't, I didn't treat him, unfairly. So, like I said, I made it a point to always treat people fairly, to always treat people with respect, because you never know. And I tell people all the time, and I want you all to listen to this right here. Everybody, even myself, is a situation or a decision away from something totally different happening in your life, whether it's death, whether it's prison, whether it's more riches, or we all are a situation or a decision away from where we are today. And again, that's something that I tell because I made some choices, and when I was a teenager, that had I been caught and had I not been blessed enough to get out of that situation, I definitely wouldn't be a police officer sitting here today. So, I have to thank God for that every day, that He covered me and I was able to get out of those situations. But at the same time, things could have went very different for me, and I'm pretty open with my kids about it, and tell them, how it was for me growing up and some of my influences I had, and I had to overcome that and want better, not only for me but for my family. So
that's deep though, you feel me? And that's real. Make sure you hit the like button, that subscribe button. Let me know your thoughts on this, you feel me? Any police officers, any law enforcement, military,
first responders.
Yeah, first responders, anybody in that sort, you feel me? Definitely got to give y'all that, because really without y'all, like dude said, next time, what he say? I forgot what the dude said. Dang, I forgot the governor.
You talking about? He's the senator.
There we
go. John Kennedy. He's out of Louisiana. He said next time somebody break in your house, call a crackhead.
Yeah, that's real talk though. And I feel like that's something that a lot of people need. Like, even though it's funny, like, that's for real. Like, I mean, shoot. But you already know. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe button. Catch y'all next one.